Good morning, and welcome to the virtual worship service of the UU Meeting House of Provincetown, where we affirm the inherent worth and dignity of every person, and where we support each other on our spiritual search for truth and meaning. My name is Reverend Kate Wilkinson, and I am so glad that you have joined us this week. February is our shortest month, but we have joined together for some powerful worship services about the strength of our limitations, the power of a broken, open heart, the warmth of connection and contentment. And today we round out the month with one more Sunday focused on the heart. We are working hard to keep our hearts open and receptive and loving during this time. And we help each other with that as a spiritual community that comes together each week. Even though we come together from our separate spaces, we serve as each other's spiritual teachers and accountability partners and company on the journey. Now, when we lead a new member class here at the Meeting House, one of the exercises that we do is to map our spiritual journeys. We make a timeline of our life and draw in the lessons that we've been taught about the world, life events that have changed our perspective on things, moments of deep connection to the Spirit, and times when our hearts have been broken open to new understandings. Here is my journey map that I add to each time I lead the class. We are actually going to try to have our first online new member class this spring. So if you are interested in joining our spiritual community more formally as a member, we hope that you can join us on Saturday, April 24th on Zoom. Today we borrow that spiritual mapping exercise as a connecting thread for this morning's service, and I welcome you on that journey. And now, as I light our chalice here in the sanctuary of the Meeting House, I invite you to light a candle wherever you are. In that way, we can feel connected, even while we are apart.
Invitation to the journey. Come, you accidental pilgrims, you who find yourselves on a journey of surprise and wonder. Come, you who emerge into this place as an act of liberation. Come, you who seek a life of mindfulness and a place to test your thoughts. Come, you who bring hearts of all kinds, heavy hearts, rusty hearts, hearts broken open in revelation, hearts full of love to share. Come, you who seek courage, and you who have more courage than you realize. Come, you who stand behind the curtain, gather up the resources to claim your truth. Come, you who have been in a bubble, you who are poised for transformation. We begin our story again, gathering courage, love, mindfulness, and a sense of purpose. We gather as people of all ages, of different abilities, different backgrounds, and different perspectives. We share a covenant, a direction for our shared journey, and a commitment to encourage and challenge one another to spiritual growth This path will ask much of us. Let us move forward with love. Let us move forward with appreciation for one another. Let us move forward knowing we are not alone. Whoever you are, whatever your gifts, you are welcome to this journey. You are welcome this very day.
Please join with me as we affirm our covenant. Love is the spirit of this meeting house. And this is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another.
Spirit of life, come to me, sing in my heart all stirrings of compassion, blow in the winds, rise in the sea, move in the shape of justice, roots holy cause, wings set me free. Spirit of life, come to me, come to me.
Map of the Journey in Progress by Victoria Safford. Here is where I found my voice and chose to be brave. Here's a place where I forgave someone against my better judgment, and I survived that, and unexpectedly, amazingly, I became wiser. Here's where I was once forgiven, was ready for once in my life to receive forgiveness and to be transformed. And I survived that also. I lived to tell the tale. This is the place where I said no more loudly than I thought I ever could, and everybody stared, but I said no loudly anyway because I knew it must be said. And those staring settled down into harmless, ineffective grumbling, and over me they had no power anymore. Here's a time, and here's another where I laid down my fear and walked right on into it, right up to my neck, into that roiling water. Here's where cruelty taught me something, and here's where I was first astonished by gratuitous compassion and knew it for the miracle it was, the requirement it is. It was a trembling time. And here, much later, is where I returned the blessing clumsily. It wasn't hard, but I was unaccustomed. It cycled round, and as best as I could, I sent it back on out, passed the gift along, this circular motion, around and around, has no apparent end. Here's a place, a murky puddle, where I have stumbled more than once and fallen. I don't know yet what to learn there. On this site, I was outraged, and the rage sustains me still. It clarifies my seeing. And here's where something caught me. A warm breeze in late winter, birdsong in late summer. Here's where I was told there was something wrong with my eyes, that I see the world strangely, and here's where I said, yes, I know. I walk in beauty. Here is where I began to look with my own eyes and listen with my ears and sing my own song, shaky as it is. Here is where, if by surgeon's knife, my heart was opened up, and here, and here, and here, and here, these are the landmarks of conversion.
When our heart is in a holy place, when our heart is in a holy place, we are blessed with love and amazing grace. When our heart is in a holy place, when we trust the wisdom in each of us, every color, every creed and kind, and we see our faces in each other's eyes, then our heart is in a holy place. When we tell our story from deep inside, and we listen with a loving mind, and we hear our voices in each other's words, then our heart is in a holy place. When we share the silence of sacred space, and the God of our hearts stirs within, and we feel the power of each other's faith, then our heart is in a holy place. When our heart is in a holy place, when our heart is in a holy place, we are blessed with love and amazing grace. When our heart is in a holy place, when our heart is in a holy place.
Autobiography in 5 short chapters by Portia Nelson. Chapter 1. I walk down the street. There is a deep hole in the sidewalk. I fall in. I am lost. I am helpless. It isn't my fault. It takes me forever to find a way out. Chapter 2. I walk down the same street. There is a deep hole in the sidewalk. I pretend I don't see it. I fall in again. I can't believe I am in the same place, but it isn't my fault. It still takes a long time to get out. Chapter 3. I walk down the same street. There is a deep hole in the sidewalk. I see it is there. I still fall in. It's a habit. My eyes are open. I know where I am. It is my fault. I get out immediately. Chapter 4. I walk down the same street. There is a deep hole in the sidewalk. I walk around it. Chapter 5. I walk down another street.
When I was little, I used to take violin lessons. I started playing the violin when I was about 5 years old. My first violin was a tiny little thing. My teacher put yellow strips of tape across the fingerboard so that I could learn where to place my fingers, how to position my hand. I think it was my mom's idea for me to play the violin. And over the years, there were some really great moments. Violin camp in Vermont with my best friend, recitals, a Christmas concert fundraiser for a trip to England when I was 12. But I'll admit, I didn't really love playing the violin most of the time. The thing with the violin is that you sound really bad for a long time before you sound just okay. And it's a lot of work to sound just okay. My mother used to bribe me to practice with sheets of stickers that she kept on the mantle in the kitchen above my reach. Lessons were the worst, mostly because I hadn't practiced enough and because I was a little scared of my teacher. To get me to go to those, my mother promised me a treat at Bennett's Country Store on the way home. That kept me going for about 10 years. I love treats. But eventually, toward the end of high school, I stopped playing. And I didn't pick up the violin for another 20 years. Recently, I have returned to taking lessons. I found a new teacher here on the Cape, Rose Clancy, who is a lot of fun. She has played a few tunes for us for our services. And I joined her fiddle orchestra so that I can play with other people. It's a lot different taking lessons as an adult. For one thing, it's my choice to play, and it feels different when you're doing something for yourself. My teacher asks me what I would like to learn, and that is what we work on each week. This fall and winter, I have chosen to work on learning to play songs by ear, with no music. She plays a line, and I play it back to her. I memorize each piece, which is a very different skill than reading it from the page. It challenges my brain. I still don't practice enough, and it's still a lot of work to sound just okay. I will never be a concert violinist, but it feels good to stretch myself, to strive for something, to join with others to work toward a goal. This has changed quite a bit during the pandemic, of course, but I still take lessons each week over Zoom. I guess I've been thinking about this because I think that coming to church each week is a little bit like taking violin lessons. Maybe you don't like that word, church. Maybe your parents made you go when you were little and it wasn't a great experience for you. Maybe religion felt like something forced, or like a lot of hard work, or something that clashed with your own unfolding belief system and sense of self-worth. But then, when you got older, there was something about it that you missed. The ritual of it, or the company, or listening to someone tell a story that would stay with you during the week, the singing. Maybe you wanted to give religion another try, but on your own terms. So you had to find a new teacher, a new spiritual community, one that you chose, one that made sense in your adult life. And now maybe it feels good to stretch yourself, to strive for something, to join with others to work toward a goal. And it still goes better if you practice, right? If you apply what you learn on Sundays to your living the rest of the week. And sometimes, as you try out your new skills, it sounds bad, and you make mistakes. but there's a community of practice to return to each week, where we are all students and where we can talk about it. Out there in the world, there's a lot of posturing going on. No one wants to admit that they are still learning. They all want it to appear like they've got everything figured out. But here, we admit that we don't have it all figured out, even the teacher, that we still have so much to learn and so far to grow and deepen, and that is a good thing. Here we think that being part of a learning community is a good thing, that not being done growing is a good thing, that we are on a journey that has not ended yet, that there are still so many spiritual awakenings to draw onto our map. Here is where I was forgiven. Here's where I began to sing my own song. Here's where I said, yes, I know, I walk in beauty. Here is where my heart opened up. And so we come together on Sundays for our lessons, our heart lessons. It might be easier, I think, to stop growing and changing and learning, to set up camp in the things we know to be true and to not budge from there. We could build a wall. There's security in that, right? I think it might be easier, too, to be a part of a religious tradition that tells you what to believe, that has a book to follow and creeds to recite. Far less gray area to navigate there. And it would definitely be easier to journey alone, to go on silent retreats for our spiritual fulfillment and not talk to anybody about it when we got back. That way our growth would not be challenged or our insights tested. We could think of ourselves as quite enlightened, since no one would be pushing our buttons, reminding us that we have more work to do. There are many other ways to do this work. But to me, joining this community each week for our heart lessons, taking the risk of looking at things in new ways, being challenged by working with others, opening myself up to what might come next on my map, seeing myself as a student who still needs to practice. This feels like a good path to me. And when I talk about it, you know what? It sounds okay. Donna Markova writes, I will not die an unlived life. I will not live in fear of falling or catching fire. I choose to inhabit my days, to allow my living to open me, to make me less afraid, more accessible, to loosen my heart until it becomes a wing, a torch, a promise. I choose to risk my significance, to live so that that which came to me as seed goes to the next as blossom, and that which came to me as blossom goes on as fruit. May we each choose to inhabit our days, allow our living to open us. May we continue to chart a journey of living and growing and learning and connecting. And may we be in good company on the journey. Amen. and blessed be.
Open wide.